Some of you are exhausted not because life is hard, but because you have been trying to carry a weight only God was meant to carry. You smile in public, but privately, your mind is tired, your heart is anxious, your spirit feels disconnected. You pray sometimes, you believe in God, but deep down, something else has been sitting on the throne of your life. Fear, control, approval, disappointment, pain, and it is draining you. Because whatever comes first in your life will eventually control your life. That is why some people look successful but feel empty. Why some people are surrounded by others yet still feel alone. Why anxiety keeps growing even when everything appears fine on the outside. But today, something can shift. Because when God truly becomes first, peace starts replacing panic. Clarity starts replacing confusion. Strength starts rising where weakness once lived. This is not about religion. This is about transformation. About finally becoming the person God created you to be. And it begins with one powerful decision: putting God first. Peace replaces panic. Peace replaces panic when you finally stop trying to control every outcome and start trusting God with the parts of life you cannot fix on your own. So many people wake up already overwhelmed. Their minds are racing before the day even begins. Fear about money, fear about relationships, fear about the future. They carry invisible pressure everywhere they go, smiling on the outside while silently falling apart within. But when God becomes the center of your life, something begins to settle inside your spirit. You realize that panic has never solved a single problem. Worry has never added strength to your soul. God never asked you to predict tomorrow. He asked you to trust Him today. That changes the way you walk through difficult seasons. You stop reacting emotionally to every setback. You stop allowing bad news to define your mindset. Prayer becomes more than a routine. It becomes a place of surrender where heavy thoughts lose their power. Even when life feels uncertain, there is a deeper confidence growing inside you because you know God is still present in the middle of the storm. His peace does not depend on perfect circumstances. His peace gives you stability while everything around you feels unstable. Your identity becomes stronger than rejection. Your identity becomes stronger than rejection when you stop looking to people for the validation only God can give. Many people spend years trying to prove their worth to others. They change themselves to be accepted. They stay quiet to avoid criticism. They carry the pain of rejection like it defines who they are. One harsh opinion breaks their confidence. One betrayal makes them question their value. But when you truly put God first, your identity starts becoming rooted in something deeper than human approval. You begin to understand that your worth was never created by people, so people cannot take it away. Rejection still hurts, but it no longer destroys you. You stop chasing relationships that constantly drain your spirit. You stop begging for attention from people who only notice you when it benefits them. God begins teaching you that confidence is not pretending to be perfect. Confidence is knowing who you are even when others fail to recognize it. That truth changes how you carry yourself. You become emotionally stronger. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into places where you were never meant to belong. You start walking with quiet confidence because your identity is no longer built on opinions that constantly change. Discipline replaces destruction. Discipline replaces destruction when you finally understand that small daily choices shape the direction of your life more than emotional moments ever will. Many people pray for change while continuing the habits that keep breaking them. They want peace, but feed their minds with negativity. They want healing, but refuse to let go of toxic patterns. They want purpose, but avoid responsibility. God's transformation does not happen through motivation alone. It happens through consistent obedience in the quiet places nobody sees. Real spiritual growth often begins when you choose discipline over temporary comfort. You start protecting your mind instead of entertaining every destructive thought. You become intentional with your time, your words, your relationships, and your energy. God begins teaching you that self-control is not punishment. It is protection. Every healthy boundary strengthens your future. Every act of obedience builds inner stability. You stop living according to every emotion that rises within you. You stop allowing anger, laziness, fear, or distraction to control your decisions. Little by little, your life becomes more focused, more peaceful, and more grounded. God starts rebuilding areas that once felt chaotic because discipline creates room for wisdom to grow. Even in difficult seasons, you keep showing up, praying, learning, healing, and moving forward with quiet determination. God's timing becomes your trust. God's timing becomes your trust when you stop measuring your life by how quickly things happen and start believing that delay does not mean denial. One of the hardest struggles people face is watching others move ahead while they feel stuck in waiting seasons. Waiting can make you question yourself. It can make you wonder if God has forgotten your prayers. Many people become frustrated because they expected life to happen faster. They wanted immediate answers, immediate healing, immediate breakthroughs. But God often works in ways that stretch your patience because He is developing your character while preparing your future. Some doors stay closed because you are still becoming the person strong enough to carry what you are asking for. Faith grows deeper when you trust God even without visible results. You stop forcing relationships that bring confusion. You stop chasing opportunities driven by desperation instead of wisdom. Prayer becomes less about demanding quick results and more about learning surrender. There is a quiet strength that develops when you trust God's process instead of fighting it. You begin to realize that some delays protected you from unnecessary pain. Some unanswered prayers redirected your path towards something greater. Even in silence, God is still shaping your story with purpose and care. Strength is found in weakness. Strength is found in weakness. When you stop hiding your pain and start bringing it honestly before God. His power shines brightest in surrendered hearts that trust Him through broken seasons and silent battles. Fear loses its control over you. Fear loses its control over you when faith becomes louder than anxiety. God gives courage to move forward even when the future feels uncertain and your heart still feels afraid. Purpose becomes clearer. Purpose becomes clearer when God leads your steps. Confusion fades as faith guides your decisions, giving your life deeper meaning, direction, and spiritual focus. Emotional healing begins. Emotional healing begins when you stop carrying silent pain alone. God restores broken places within you, replacing bitterness, heaviness, and sorrow with peace and hope. Faith gives you confidence to move forward. Faith gives you confidence to move forward when doubt no longer controls your mind. God strengthens your heart to keep walking even through uncertainty and pressure. You stop carrying life alone. You stop carrying life alone when you fully surrender your burdens to God. His presence becomes your strength through heartbreak, fear, exhaustion, and difficult seasons. At some point, every person has to decide what will sit at the center of their life. Fear or faith. Control or surrender. Pride or obedience, temporary comfort or lasting purpose. Because the truth is, whatever leads your heart eventually shapes your future. When God is not first, life becomes heavier than it was ever meant to be. You carry pressure you cannot sustain. You chase validation that never satisfies. You search for peace in places that leave your soul emptier than before. But when God becomes your foundation, everything begins to change from the inside out. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you are no longer facing life alone. Your pain starts producing wisdom. Your waiting starts building character. Your weakness becomes a doorway for God's strength to move through you. And maybe this is your moment. The moment you stop giving God leftovers. The moment you stop running on fear. The moment you finally trust Him fully. Because the life God is calling you into requires surrender before breakthrough.